Hello and welcome to Panthers TV, and you join us for the first time in a little series we're going to try and do throughout the off-season called Behind the Bench, where we try and put the spotlight a little bit on guys who you wouldn't hear from during the regular season when we've got all the players and the coach around, but guys who are equally as important and just as essential a cog to the Panthers machine when it comes to the on-ice product. And to start us off, we're joined by a man who's potentially had one of the longest tenures in Panthers history, hitting what might be his 18th or 19th season. You're going to have to correct me. We're joined by Panthers kit manager Adam Goodridge. Adam.
Hello.
Welcome to Panthers TV and the honorary first guest of Behind the Bench. Hopefully one of many. We'll see what the off-season brings us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, like I just said, about 18 seasons did we come up with?
Completed 18 seasons.
Completed 18 seasons.
This is my 19th, going into my 19th, yeah.
Now, if someone asked me what's like a dream book you could read out of nowhere, it might be yours. Because, I mean, in 2 seasons with the club, I already know that you've seen about 1 million things that I have purposely blinded myself to. So, I mean, over 18 years, that's a lot of stories, I imagine. Yeah,
there's a lot of stories, a lot of good times, a lot of down times, but it's been an unbelievable ride. And, you know, each year we're trying to write a new chapter, so to speak. So, so it's been great. It's been enjoyable.
Now, when you hit the club for the, was it 99-2000 or 98-99 season?
99-2000.
99-2000. The club had kind of just been taken over by Neil. Was maybe finding its footings again as a what will remain a pillar of British ice hockey. 18 seasons later, and what's changed behind the scenes for you? Obviously, for us, it's a smooth running organisation where sponsors come to us and love to be a part of the Panthers brand. But what about in the locker room, behind the scenes with the kit? What's changed for you?
Oh, it's turned full circle. Like, I mean, when I first started, we were in the old rink, so we had the smallest change room you've ever seen. We had 13, 14 players that, you know, probably played 30 minutes each a night. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, whereas now, you know, obviously, I think we carried 25 players last year. You know, guys were using wooden sticks. The equipment's just evolved so much. For the better, but obviously with that comes more expense. So budgets have gone from, you know, I wouldn't ever say relatively low, but now the equipment budget is ginormous. And unfortunately, it's just the way the game's going. Well, not unfortunately, it's great the game's going down that route, and it's been really good, really fantastic.
Now, I started this off by saying you're one of the guys with the longest tenures at this club, which obviously brings to mind 2 other guys who've had an incredibly long tenure with the club that's come to an end this season in Corey and David. Now, I know that, I mean, working alongside both of them, I mean, 12 years on and off. Obviously, David went away, Corey being here. It's about 12 years with those 2 guys. It must have been, it was emotional for everybody else watching them leave, but they dragged you out onto the ice, got some photos with you. Must have been emotional for you too.
Yeah, it was. Obviously, we'll always be in contact, and that will always remain. I mean, David was my best man at my wedding. Corey came to my wedding as well. So we're very good friends, and we've enjoyed every moment of it. And you know, it was a sad day. But now, like, it's, you know, for them as well. Like, I think it's exciting for what David's going to go into, and the same for Corey. I think it's going to. Corey's looking for a new challenge, and I think he'll take it with both hands. So, yeah.
Now, obviously, moving on to Rich, but you've already had a few coaching changes in your time. You had to guide me through it, but we've had Blaisdell,
yeah,
Woods, Dampier, AD, Blaisdell again, Ellis, and Nielsen, and now that's 8 different tenures for you.
Yeah.
What's it like as kit manager? Is there a big change? Is there a lot going on behind the scenes when a new coach comes in terms of how it affects you?
I mean, obviously every coach likes things done differently. For me, I try and just come in, work hard, do my job to the best of my ability. And obviously, if there's something that the new coach wants doing differently, he will let me know. And, you know, at the end of the day, my job, something that I always got told from the first moment I joined the team was, you know, as my job is to 100% support the coach in absolutely everything. So, you know, I will be there to support him, and also however he would like things doing, I will do it to the best of my ability. And if it's not good enough, I'm sure he'll let me know.
Now, you don't have to name names, but I mean, hockey's a superstitious sport. Do the coaches have a way they like you to do things? Are there some funny habits you've seen out there?
Well, I mean, just obviously, most recently, Corey. Corey obviously likes his boards, his pucks, his everything ready for practice, which is absolutely fine. His marker pens and things like that. You know, which I'm sure all coaches would like. Some coaches would grab their own stuff and take it, but again, it's how coaches prepare themselves. Corey liked me doing certain things and didn't like me doing certain things. For instance, he hated the fact that I would pack the bags before road games. He couldn't understand why I would do it. He thought the players should pack their own bags. For me, it was I didn't trust the players not to forget something, so I would pack the bags, and then obviously we have a fine system, so I would fine the players if I'd forgot something, because it's their responsibility to check their stall and check underneath their stall. I just pack it for them. So yeah, so he didn't like that, but I continued to do it anyway.
So 18 years, you've been to a heck of a lot of rinks. I mean, in my 2 years here, I got to go to Bern. That was incredible. Zurich, Turku. You must have seen some amazing places through trips with the Panthers, and you've told me even before, well, just near the beginning of your tenure, you went to some pretty incredible places too. Yeah.
I think, you know, with the Panthers, I think my favourite rink to go to was probably the Hamburg rink. But then when I first started with the job, obviously, you know, as in my job, like, I try and improve every year. But especially at the start, it was really vital that I learn as much as I could as quickly as possible. And some of the players, they kind of took me under their wing, and they like set me up with some fantastic people to go and learn from. So Greg Haddon helped me go and spend a day with the Vancouver Canucks and their equipment staff. So obviously I saw the facilities they had, and the rink and everything like that. I spent a day with the Edmonton Oilers, that was through Barry Nykar and Randall Weber. And then I also spent a day with AIK Stockholm, which was obviously a bit different to the teams in the NHL, but it was, you know, the facilities they have again was unbelievable, and it was a great experience to spend some time with them and just pick up some tips. Any advice I could take, I took it with both hands, and yeah, hopefully it's put me in good stead, so to speak.
Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you first with this Behind the Bench series is, during the season, you basically live at the rink. I mean, we're looking at, I think 100-hour weeks isn't exaggerating at all, and you're there, home, away, every single time there's a Panthers game, you're on the bench, you're there. And I remember a while back, and we won't mention the team, but they were looking for a kit manager, and they said the infamous word part-time kit manager.
Yeah,
and I remember you turning to me and going, no. No.
Yeah.
First of all, tell me what it's like for you during the season.
It's, you know, it's hard work, but at the end of the day, you try and put in what you get out, and you know, my job is to make sure the team is like, I try and limit excuses. So if I can do everything in my power to make sure the players are comfortable with the equipment they're using, the coach is happy, then I've done my job. So like, I like them to walk into a room that's as professional as possible. And then once obviously they step onto the ice, that's, you know, I'm a fan at the same time. Do you know what I mean? I want to win games. But ultimately then it's out of my control. So all I can do is make sure the team's as prepared as possible, and yeah, hopefully the wins come. So. And
then after a 5, 6, 7 month season, depending on when we started training camp and how far we've gotten in the campaign, a chance to recharge the batteries, or is it still pretty intense during the off season for you?
You know, obviously for me, like it quiets down a lot at the end of April. Once I've done my kit sales and things like that, then all I have to do after that is the coach will ring me or email me player contact details as soon as we've signed them. I'll make contact with the players, find out what equipment they need to use, and make sure it's here for the 1st of August. Obviously, sometimes players sign later, and it makes it more tricky because every player has, you know, some players can use patterns that are, like for their sticks and things like that are stock patterns that, you know, basically off the shelf. Other guys, you know, they need their sticks making perfectly for them. So those kind of orders can take 6 to 8 weeks and things like that. So obviously, like with custom goalie pads, for instance, if we get an order in, sometimes it can take 6 to 8 weeks. Sometimes it can take 3 months, which is, you know, unfortunately the problem we had with Michael Garnett's equipment this year. So yeah, it's that's mainly what I do in the summer, and take a step away from hockey a little bit. Yeah. So
when you say you get the players' individual requests, again, let's not name names, but have you ever had like that one request where you're like, why? Really? Does that help? Does that change something, or is it all pretty standard?
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Like obviously during the season you find out which players are a little bit more needy and need things done specifically in a certain way. But you know, when a player first signs, it's kind of like I explain to them like how the equipment works in Nottingham, and they basically fill in a form and send it back to me, and I make sure that, you know, that's what they have. The only issues we have is if, you know, a coach tells me a player plays a certain hand and he plays a different hand, then, you know, that can be a problem, but problems that we can solve.
All right, well,
that was in my early days.
I'd like to think that has improved over time.
So Jay Galbraith, Corey told me he was left-handed, so obviously I found out the curve that he wanted, and I should have. I don't know why I didn't, but yeah, he told me he was left-handed, so I ordered left-handed sticks, and he got here and he was a righty, and from that moment on, I took those sort of things into my own hands.
First question on the list: how do you shoot?
Yeah. So,
all right, well, thank you so much for joining us on the first episode of Behind the Bench, Adam.
It's been a pleasure.
Great talking to you. Hopefully giving some people an idea about what you do that they wouldn't normally have had.
Thank you.
Thanks. And I hope you've enjoyed our first episode of Behind the Bench. Like we said, we're going to try and bring this to you a little bit more often during the off-season, but don't hold it against us if they don't come out like clockwork. Hope you've enjoyed, and hopefully we see you again in the new season.